Hi everybody. Okay, so I said before in a previous video that despite the fact that my shoulder is killing me, today especially it's really bothering me, but anyway, I wanted to start venturing off in my videos and showing you all some other things that I do to give you guys a little bit of background about myself. I was born and raised in California in the San Francisco Bay Area. Lived here my whole life except for a brief period when I was a baby and we lived in Georgia. I was a baby, I don't remember. Otherwise, I'm from here. I am a former licensed dispensing optician. I did that for a very long time. State and nationally licensed. I made eyeglasses, fit patients for prescriptions and that sort of thing. Haven't done it in a long time, but I like helping people, so it was a fun job. I'm a seamstress. I grew up with two grandmothers who were very much old school in that they both learned how to sew and do needlework from their mothers, and one was more into sewing, as was my mom and her mom, and the other grandmother was into all other kinds of needlework. So I can knit and crochet, embroider, sew. I hate tailoring. I know how. I really hate it. I used to do weddings and alterations and things for people at one time. I love weddings. Brides drive me crazy. So I can do a lot of different things. I've played with polymer clay and beadwork and floral crafts and just about everything that's in a Michael's Arts and Crafts I've tried at least once, almost everything. So one of the things I love to do is knit, and we will see how far I get today because, as you know, knitting takes two hands, and I do have some range of motion with my left hand, but it's not a lot, so I don't know if this is going to hurt or not. So you might see me with different clothes on at different parts of the video because I might have to stop and come back to it tomorrow, but I'm going to show you one of my favorite things to knit, which is really simple, and I do it at shows a lot because I don't have to count stitches or mark rows or anything like that. I am very much an impatient crafter, and if I have to spend too much time counting rows or anything with knitting or crocheting, that kind of makes me crazy. I need something that just gets my mind off of other things and I can just, do what I need to do and get something made. So one of my favorite things to do is take multiple kinds of yarn and knit them together as if they were one kind into a scarf usually. I usually cast on between 5 and 7 stitches. I use these needles. So these are scarf needles. They are size 35s. And this is my favorite pair of knitting needles because I use them a lot. And I will do anywhere from 3 to as many as 6 kinds of yarns together. Now today I happen to have 6. So when yarn is on clearance, I unfortunately have had friends who've passed away and their families don't usually know what to do with their stash. So they ask me, do you want it, or do you know where we can take it? Anyway, I usually say, well, can I have that? I have to stop doing that because I have too much stuff in my studio. Anyway, so I have this basket of yarn. When it's full, I cut myself off. I don't buy any more, and right now it's really full. I need to knit some. So I picked out today, some yarn stood out to me, so I have some fun purpley color. I tended to go in there looking for turquoise colors. I ended up, these spoke to me. So this first one is Vicky Howell Sheepish Yarn. Does it say what color it is? This is magenta. So when you do this, you always want to pull your yarn from the center, which is sometimes easier said than done. See, yeah, that's normal. Just keep pulling. I make little piles on the floor of the different kinds of yarn. And this kind of motion, yeah, it hurts a little bit. So let's see if I can find that end kind of fast here, because that hurts. There we go. This one is Red Heart's Pompadoodle. And what color is this? It doesn't say. 9930. I don't know what color. Oh, plum. Plush plum. So if you don't have a space where you can just throw the skeins on the floor and center pull them and knit with them that way, you could put each skein in its own separate, say, plastic Ziploc bag. Just something so they don't get tangly. So when you find the ends, start putting them together. This one is Loops and Threads Dewdrops. I like this one. It has sequin in it. It's finally raining in California. Woohoo! Doesn't seem to be helping my asthma any, but I'm glad we're getting rain. Okay. So see what starts to happen if you put them together. You start to get something that's really interesting. This one is Cello Sensations. I think it's a Joann's brand. It just says Dark Multi. It's very much like Lion brand Fun Fur, which I think might be up here. Let's see. Oh no, that's another Cello yarn. I found 3 eyelash yarns I want to use. Let's see. Eyelash yarns mean they have all these little threads hanging off of them. You only need 1 ball of each for this. Okay, this one is another Cello yarn, and what color is this? Dark purple. This is the one that really caught my eye. The next one, wait till you see. Then I have this one. I know it's brown, right? It's not purple. So this is Barafa. It's an Italian yarn called Fur Luxe. And what color is it? Do we know? Color 48. It doesn't say. I'm Italian, but I was born here. So I don't know what that says. It's in Italian. But we're going to pull this little sucker out. Oops. It's all tangled. I'm going to toss the ball on the floor. Okay. So there is a knot right here, so I'm going to just cut that off. Okay. So now we have all of our ends together. So first make a slip knot. And yes, this hurts, but we're going to try to do it anyways. Put that on your needle. I'm sure there are other better ways to cast on. I only know that this is how I cast on. Okay? So I'm going to take my yarn, right? And I'm going to cast on 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Made a mistake somewhere. See? Happens to everybody. So when you're doing this, make sure when you're doing it, as you're doing it up here where your needles are, that you're keeping all of your yarns together, however many you're using. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. Why do I feel like I'm missing one? I think I am missing one. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. I am missing one. I'm missing this dark purple one. There we go. Because I dropped it. See? Okay, now that looks better. Let's try that again. Slip knot. Okay. So 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. One more. 7. So your slip knot counts as 1 stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the more yarns you use, the fatter needle you should use, because it's going to make finding said stitches and knitting your scarf a lot easier. So I'm going to stick my other needle into the first stitch, and I'm going to grab my other yarn and pull it through, and pull it off the beginning needle and put it on this one. So again, I am putting my needle through this stitch, wrapping my yarn around, using the needle in this hand to pull that yarn through and make a new loop, and pull the old loop off the beginning needle. I'm going to keep doing that for all 7 stitches all the way across. When you get to this, on this pompadour yarn, when you get to these little pom-pom things, just go slow, be careful, because they kind of get in the way. It's a really pretty yarn, but they kind of get in the way. I have kind of a lot of it, so I'm trying to use it up. And remember to hold this up so you know it's in the camera frame. Don't have your stitches be too tight on your needles, especially when you're doing this many different kinds of yarn, because it's going to make it too hard to pull through. Okay, 1 row. So switch hands. When you're doing a scarf like this, you have so many different kinds of yarns. They are so textured. If you forget which way you grabbed your first stitch on the first row, and you grab it by like this, maybe it's easier that time to see, it's not going to show. It's totally not going to show and not going to make any difference. You are the only one on the planet going to know that you did that the wrong way. Unless, of course, you're on YouTube, you know, and filming it. And yes, my arm is starting to hurt right now, but I'll do 1 more row on camera. Then I'm going to stop for a minute and I'll do some more. And you just keep doing this until your scarf is long enough or you run out of yarn. Now, frequently when I do this, I just keep knitting until whatever the first ball of yarn I start running out of is. So not all these balls of yarn are made the same. Some of them are, you know, not very big balls of yarn. And so whatever that ball is that's the smallest, that when that one runs out of yarn, my scarf is done. Hopefully it's long enough. Usually if you only do 5 or 7 stitches, usually it's plenty long enough. Alright, so I am going to give my arm a rest and I will keep knitting, but I'll be back. Okay, so when you finish a row, I'm right-handed, so if you're left-handed, you have to do all this backwards. So when you finish a row, your finished needle should be in your left hand, and the needle you're working the new stitches with should be in your right hand. So right now I'm knitting a new row, putting my needle in the old stitch, pulling the yarn through, making a new stitch, right? Then when I'm done, I'm going to give it a little tug. Isn't that pretty? And I'm going to switch hands. And now I have my empty needle over here. So this is what I'm going to try to do this up close here. So I'm going to stick my needle in here. See this the tip is coming out here. I'm going to grab my yarn and I'm going to pull it through. Let's see if I can do this on camera. No, because, you know, I'm trying to do it so you guys can see. There we go. Okay. I'm going to pull it through, and as I'm pulling the needle all the way through, I'm pulling the old stitch off. So here we go again. Right? Again. 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 All the way across. All 7 stitches. There you go. Okay. Keep doing that. As you do that, your scarf is going to get longer and longer. It should get pretty long pretty quickly because your stitches are so big. Okay. Keep doing that until your scarf is, this, like I said before, the length you want, or you start running out of yarn. If you want to have fringe on both ends, you need to make sure before you're done that you save enough of some of the kinds of yarns to make fringe with. And I can show you how to do that. Normally when I do these kind of scarves, I don't do fringe. But we will see what kind of leftover yarn I have, and I can show you the option of doing that. You don't have to have all 6 kinds, or however many you're knitting with. You just have to have some to do the fringe with. Okay, some, you know, maybe you only have 3 left. You can do the fringe with 3. All right, I'll be back. Hi, everybody. Okay, so I'm not done yet, but look at, don't you want to just touch that? Isn't that just pretty? It's thick and just, this is why I like to do scarves like this. You just want to touch them and pet them. They're just gorgeous. And I always buy yarns that are soft. So they feel really good. And then I wanted to show you really quick. So this is what my yarn balls look like on the floor. And usually I do this on the floor. Now, like I said, you could put them each in their own little box or a bag or something. I do somewhere, somewhere in my stash of stuff. I actually have a yarn bag that has, I think, 6 little holes on the outside of the bag, one for like each ball of yarn. So you could do something like that. If you don't have that, you could just do six Ziploc bags and just staple them together like in one corner. And you're going to do center pulls so they're not going to roll around too much. That would work. All right, I'm going to keep knitting, and hopefully I'll be done soon, and I will show you guys how to cast off. All right, bye. Okay, as usual, I screwed up the video again. So, when you're done, you just cast off the normal way. If you've never knit before and you don't know how to cast off, there's a ton of YouTube videos out there for casting off your stitches. Just the simple, you knit 2 stitches. Let's see, do I have a piece of yarn here? Let's see if I can show you really quick. I'll put a couple stitches on here really quick. Okay. So to cast off is actually really easy. So when you're done and your scarf is as long as you want, make sure you stop before you use all your yarn. You want to have about, I don't know, a yard probably left over at least. If you want to do fringe, you need to have more than that. Sometimes I will cut my fringe before I even start my scarf. Okay? And I'll tell you about how to cut it in a minute. But I'll cut all my fringe pieces off first, set them aside, then knit my scarf. Then I know I have them already. That's a tip. So when your scarf is as long as you want, pretend there's a scarf hanging here, because yeah, I messed up the video. So you're going to knit the first 2 stitches, right? Then you're going to take this stitch and you're going to pull it over this stitch, so you only have 1 on here. Then you're going to go and you're going to knit another one, and you're going to pull this one over that one you just knit, so again you only have 1, and you're going to do that all the way across until you only have 1 stitch left. When you get to the last stitch, pull the loop kind of big, cut your yarns, pull them through the loop, pull it tight. Okay, that's how you finish off all your stitches, so it's all done. It's an interesting little knot. I'll have to save it. Maybe I'll do it and use it in something. Okay, now when you want to do fringe, however long you decide you want your fringe, you need to at least double that when you cut your pieces of yarn. So if you want 6-inch fringe, cut pieces that are at least 12 inches long. Okay, if you want 8-inch fringe, they need to be at least 16 inches long. You cut them and then double them like this, so you have the loop at the top. After you bind off your scarf, and I usually do one of these, at least one of these for each stitch. So if I cast on 7 stitches, I'd want 7 of these looped pieces of yarn to do fringe on each end. So that would be 14. Okay? Cut them before you knit your scarf. Okay, so I would start in the corner and I'd stick my crochet hook in the corner, grab all these yarns and pull them through, and then pull the cut ends through and pull it tight. Do that all the way across and you'll have a nice fringed scarf. I don't usually do that. Sometimes I do. It just depends on what mood I'm in. You don't have to have all 6 of your kinds of yarns to do that with, but it does look better if you do. Alright, and this, as I said in the video that I didn't tape correctly, yeah. This is about 5.5 inches wide and it's about 62 inches long. If you're not sure how long your scarf should be, if you have a scarf that you like, measure it. If it's longer than 62 inches, maybe you want to only do 5 stitches across. So if I want the scarf to be longer, then I'll just do fewer stitches. That'll give me more yarn, and when I'm done, it's going to end up being a longer scarf. You also can do it with more than one ball of yarn. Trying to think what else. Something I didn't mention is that I'm a published machine knit designer. I do have a Bond knitting machine, an old Incredible Sweater machine. I like it because it's a bulky weight and I can do all kinds of fun thick yarns on it. I really only use it for blankets anymore, although I am a published designer. I don't have a permanent place to set it up, so it's in a closet in the garage. Somebody really has to ask me 3 or 4 times to knit them a blanket before I actually make said blanket, and my daughter has asked me quite a few years in a row. I'm actually going to, well, for one of these days I'm going to have to actually get it out and make her blanket. The only problem is once I get it out and start said blanket, I can't put it away until said blanket is done. It's not super convenient. So being able to hand knit simple small things when I do get the knitting urge is really more my speed. So I do like to hand knit. I also crochet. You can do this same thing as a crochet project with a large crochet hook, like a P or a Q. I would just do single crochet or double crochet all the way down. Just work all the yarns as if they were one, and don't go fast. Go slow, and you'll be fine. Alright, that's it for today. I have more ideas for other projects in mind, and I will keep you all posted. I don't have any idea. I need to have an MRI on this baby over here. I don't know when that's going to happen. It's a workman's comp disability thing, and it could take forever. I don't know. Anyway, alright, that's it for now, and I will see you later. Bye.